What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. This is the WWE Elimination Chamber 2018 Pay-Per-View post-show, where we'll be recapping our thoughts on the event that just transpired. It just ended about 15 minutes ago or so, and we're going to talk about it. And the people that are going to be talking about it are myself, of course, as always, is your host, Tony Mango. And joining me on the panel, I'm joined by Robert DeFelice.
Hey, we're on the road. Let's get there.
We are indeed on the road. It's going to be a bumpy one in some ways, but we are on the road. On the road again. I don't remember the lyrics after that.
On the road again.
So, yeah, this is a typical breakdown. Nothing different as far as how we do this thing. We're going to go from start to finish about the whole thing, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and anything else that comes into our mind, and give our projections about what the future has to bestow upon us, positive or negative and stuff. And we got to start things off the way that we normally start off here. The first part of the night was, of course, the pre-show, the kickoff of the whole event, which I missed a little bit of because we were having some internet problems, but it didn't seem like I missed a damn thing, because this felt like the parts that I did see, and then I checked up on some other stuff about like what I had missed out on. Pointless.
Yeah, this was a very, let's just get on with the show pre-show. They joked around about Corey and Booker T.
Yeah.
Then Paige came on the panel and was like, hey, if Absolution wins, I win, and they still haven't made any mention as to whether or not she's retired. I think if she was done for good, they would have said it by now. What do you think?
I think that they aren't saying it because they don't want to be depressing. Because she's young, you know? It's one thing for it to be like when Ric Flair retires, or even when like Edge or Christian, like they had been around a lot longer. But with Paige, she's only in her 20s still, I think. Or she might be 30. I don't know. I think she's in her 20s.
She's a year older than me, so she's 25.
I referred to her as kid earlier when I was talking to people. I was just like, gosh, what a messed up kid or something. I'm like, I feel so old when I say that to a 20-something-year-old. But she... I'll talk about this on the hot tags a little bit more, but there's that tattoo and stuff. I don't know. I think that they kind of want to release her without saying that she is gone from the company, like in-ring wise. I don't think that they want to give her that kind of like sad treatment, because if they do that, then she can't come out with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville and make them seem like they're still heels. So
right.
If they announce her retirement and it's a sympathetic thing, she seems like somebody that you shouldn't boo. And I got a feeling that they kind of just want to boot her out of the company a little bit. But, you know, that's like the pre-show panel stuff that if you know exactly what's happening with the pay-per-view, you've been watching Raw, you don't need to watch the pre-show panel stuff, because all they do is they talk in circles. And the people that do the little backstage recaps and stuff, it's just video packages and the same shit you've been seeing. So all of that's pointless. It comes down to, did anything funny happen? Did anything change? And how was the match? Well, nothing funny happened. Nothing changed. The match was the Good Brothers, or the Balor Club, or the fact that they still refer to them as Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They just don't want to give these tag team names anymore. Against the Miztourage, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Who cares?
Yeah, this was very much a, hey, make sure you have your soda and your food match. And the Balor Club won. I thought for sure they were going to set up Miz and Balor with this, because Balor pinned Miz on Raw and these teams were fighting, but no, nothing like that. Nothing remotely close to that. They won because they're associated with Balor, and that was it.
I hope that something goes down that route, but I don't know. I feel a little bit strange about the way that certain things are happening, because the Revival after the match, I mean, pretty much immediately after the match, they were still celebrating with the music playing and stuff. Their backstage little promo was just the tag team division is a mockery, and this is a joke, which is fine because they're heels. But when you have a match that goes on ahead of time that feels like it is kind of pointless, it really just sort of makes them go, yeah, it kind of was pointless. And now I'm not as excited for the Raw Tag Team title match later on because the division's a joke and stuff. And I don't know, if they do the Revival and the Balor Club and the Miztourage and Titus Worldwide and the Bar on some like big clusterfuck, well, you're gonna hear the word clusterfuck quite a bit.
You know, that was something funny that happened on the pre-show. They're going through the tag team title match, and they're like, Titus is such a great guy. You know, he's so good. He took 2,000 kids to see Black Panther. He's so good. And Booker T goes, hey, Titus, he's a big guy. He's a good guy. All right, Book, so you think he's going to win? No, not at all. Oh, okay.
Oh, poor Titus. Always a bridesmaid.
Also, Peter Rosenberg said Apollo Crews, and they were quick to cut him off.
I didn't catch that. That might have been one of the little times that I had a little bit of a hiccup with the internet. But like, how did they cut him off? Was he like Apollo Crews, and they were just like,
and they're like, oh, Apollo.
Oh.
He's like, okay, yeah, Apollo.
Well, it's different if you had said something like Apollo there. I mean, he's the type of guy that he could jump scare and just shoot everything up. Oh, crap. Like, you know, when he just, like, Apollo Crews, like, come on. Nobody's thinking of that. That's so dumb. But yeah, that was the pre-show. It was utterly pointless to watch. So if you checked it out, you wasted an hour. If you didn't, maybe you did something better with your time, I hope.
Get ready for 2-hour ones starting after WrestleMania. Or with WrestleMania, I should say.
I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's 4 hours of the actual card and an hour pre-show. And then 2-hour pre-show for the big shows.
Yeah.
At that point, though, it's the same thing I've been saying for years. I just don't like the pre-shows. They're between a half an hour to 45 minutes of just recaps, which you already recap everything on every Raw and every SmackDown anyway. And then the rest of it's like, and here's a match that nobody gives a shit about that we just announced at the last minute. Like, that's one of the downsides with this card. I mean, even when we did our predictions, they didn't have 2 of the matches on there officially yet. They didn't have like the graphics up.
They didn't have the tag title set until like last night or something. I don't know.
I think it was Friday afternoon, I think, is when they announced those 2 matches, which is like, first off, you didn't really set them up all that much. And second, you waited until 2 days before the pay-per-view before you said like, yeah, this is going to happen. You announced it on the website, which, you know, is what it is. But the first match on the actual card was the Raw Women's Championship Elimination Chamber match. Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Sonya Deville, which I think JoJo pronounced it Sonya Deville.
Yeah, no, Renee did for sure.
Huh.
I don't know. Did JoJo as well?
I think she did. So maybe she's Sonya Deville now, not Sonya.
It's gonna be Sonya Deville. Okay.
It's gonna be Apollo Deville.
Apollo Absolution. There's the name.
They're gonna be like, it's Sonya, not Sonya. No Deville, just Sonya. Don't say that. It might remind people of Cruella Deville.
Yeah, what a villain. What a heel. Mandy Rose surprised the hell out of me in this match. Actually, I'm gonna be honest. The entire match was a pleasant surprise. I was dreading the idea of it going into it, and they killed it.
They did a pretty damn solid job, and it was not something that I was necessarily expecting, but also at the same time, something that I thought was a possibility. There's a weird kind of like 50-50 hit or miss type of thing with some of these gimmick matches for the women's division where, I mean, it's just nature. The women aren't as strong and they aren't as powerful in like, I mean, look, strong in the ways of like the taking the bumps, powerful in the ways of executing the bumps. That's basically what I mean. To be able to pull off a lot of what the men do. They're not as tall either, for that matter, to be able to like reach certain things, or, you know, it's just, it is what it is. And for people that would be like, oh, that's sexist or something, no, That's not saying that they're inadequate, and it's not saying that they are inferior by any means in certain ways, but like that's just, it happens to be what it is. Just the same as you can take a cruiserweight and you can have him do flips, but you can't expect Braun Strowman to do a fucking hurricanrana. It's just not going to be the normal case. I thought that this could have had potential, and it really pretty much met my expectations in a lot of ways. I thought that it was booked pretty solid. Mandy Rose is the first to get eliminated. Then Deville. Sasha gets an elimination. Mickie gets an elimination. I didn't expect Mickie to get an elimination. I was kind of happy about that.
Also, I did not expect the woman who jumped off the pod to be the middle-aged woman who has a toddler currently. Kudos to Mickie James. I was not expecting that at all.
And you know
what?
She
was shaking before she did it, and it looked pretty cool. And it got an elimination, unlike the men's match.
I admit some positives and some negatives when it comes to some of those things like that. I'm glad Mickie was the one that did it. I am disappointed that it was pretty much the absolute safest move she could possibly do, where it looked a little like, oh, that's it. Like, all she did is a Luthez press. Because it's really not the most impressive move in the world. It's one of the worst. So that was a little disappointing.
You're still jumping. I was a little scared for her. Like, she lands on her ankle wrong, and she's got a kid at home. Like, I was glad.
I was even happier, though, afterward, and this sucks to say because I like Mickie James, but that they pinned Mickie right afterward. Because I figured, okay, this is the obvious thing. You got Alexa Bliss and Mickie James are going to team up against Sasha Banks and Bayley. And before Alexa even comes out, Mickey's gone. And I was just like, oh, shit, okay. Well, I guess we're going to get that Bayley Bliss, breakdown. And I think that was done pretty well, too. I liked Alexa trying to keep the pod closed and trying to escape.
Trying to run away from them. They really played it by the books as far as entry. Like, Sonya started it with Bayley. Mandy came in right away to get the Absolution team up. Sasha came in right away to partner with Bayley. You know, they really played it paint by numbers as far as order entry.
That's why I figured Mickie would stick in there, because I was like, oh, they're following a pattern here. You know, you got rid of Absolution. Now you're going to do the Mickie and Alexa thing and then whatever. But nope. They took me by surprise there. And then when they did the turn between Bayley and Sasha, that was a little bit earlier than I expected it to be. So I liked that too. Bayley is eliminated by Alexa Bliss, and then I started to get a little worried. Because then I thought to myself, uh-oh, Alexa got the pinfall here, and Sasha only got one submission on Mandy Rose at the beginning of the match. If they set this up and it ends up being like Bayley versus Sasha versus Alexa versus Nia, I don't really want to see that. But thankfully, Alexa Bliss retains. She pins Sasha Banks. And even better, afterward, whole crying promo. You know, you can dream big and you can do whatever you want to do. And nobody else here is going to do this because I'm the shit. And I was just like, yes, I fucking love this chick.
Yeah. Because they do this so much with the women that when she started crying and people were like, yeah, you deserve it, yeah. And she's playing it out and then she goes, and nobody's going to do it but me. And there's, oh, thank God. Okay.
Yeah, they do have a tendency every once in a while where it's like any kind of historic thing. They'll say, let's drop kayfabe for a second. Like Stephanie, when she announced the Royal Rumble. Everybody that is just arguing with each other starts holding hands and going like, yay. And I was just like, oh, this is another one of those moments. This is where she acts like a baby face and we're supposed to just kind of let it go and whatever. And, you know, it's historic in the sense that it's never been done before. But I mean, I read up an article about this the other day. That's not going to change anything right now. They have reached a point where there are not many things left for them to do that's historic to really get people's attention.
Yeah, thank God. I really want this to stop. And I don't know if this is going to come off as sexist, but I'm really over the whole women are doing things, yay! Because it's like, they could have been doing this a long time ago. You're the last to the dance. Stop acting like you're special, you know?
And this is an argument that a lot of people tend to forget in a lot of ways, but the biggest way to prove that you've accomplished something is when you don't have to talk about how you're accomplishing things. And when you've got, like, the Women's Evolution, when we stop having to talk about all these great accolades that they're doing and all this progress, that is when there will actually be the equality behind it, because then it'll just be accepted as a norm instead of, this is an exception to the rule. They finally did this. They finally did that. I think it's not going to come for a while, but I want that to be the case because I've been liking the things that have happened in the women's division a hell of a lot more. And I want them to kind of keep that trajectory going, but I am getting sick and tired of the whole political part of it.
If I would have taken a shot every time that they use the word history tonight, we would not be having this podcast right now. They were obnoxious with the word history tonight.
What about structure?
Still not as bad, because history was used in the women's match, the Ronda thing, the Asuka thing, the men's match, because it was the first ever historic 7-man. Just enough.
So, like, for the first time ever, Charlie Caruso is going to be backstage talking to Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber in Las Vegas 2018.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for that historic call back to at the end of the segment from Charlie Caruso. Never happened before. So I liked the Women's Elimination Chamber match. I thought that it was smart that they started off the pay-per-view with that too. And just overall, thumbs up. The smart decision was made. Alexa Bliss retains, and I liked it.
Yeah. Alexa retains. The one thing I noticed, though, they very much focused on Bayley and Sasha when they got eliminated, and their just dejected reactions to not being in the title match of WrestleMania. So I wonder what we'll get from those two going forward.
I'm still hoping it's not some clusterfuck thing, which, again, I said before, you're going to hear the word clusterfuck quite a bit on this episode because there are potential for some problems when it comes to that.
I don't even want them on the pre-show. You want to talk about equality. Equality would be if we have a non-women's match, women's title match, let's say one-on-one, and we put it on the regular card because it's, an important match at WrestleMania.
I don't want that on the card because I don't think it's worth it at this point.
I think it'll be a good thing to have on the card because, WrestleMania is going to be cluttered with celebrity matches and mega matches and people who won't matter the next night. So it'll be nice to show some love to two of the loyal girls.
I kind of think, though, that it might have enough matches on the card that they would be taking a spot away from somebody else that I would probably rather fit in there. Like, probably the tag team division would get screwed in that mix.
They're gonna get screwed in.
They're going to get screwed, and I mean that's a good way to transition to the next thing, which was the Raw Tag Team Championship match. The Bar successfully defending against Titus Worldwide, which was not bad, but I couldn't give a shit, really.
Yeah, quick and painless. I get a kick out of Coach every time Apollo does the flippy thing after the Gorilla Press into the reverse moonsault thing. Coach always goes, but was that necessary? Like, you can just tell he's not ingratiated to the modern day WWE where everybody flips and stuff like that. I love it.
I did like Apollo in this. He showed off, like, quite a bit that he had never really gets a chance to show off. So he looked good.
One thing I liked, all four guys looked like, real badass tough guys. You know what I mean? Like, you don't always see that in today's era. And these guys look like I would not want to run into them.
Yeah.
They're
all pretty damn big, muscular, look like they could kick your ass. Just happens to suck that they didn't put any effort into this feud. They did the textbook easiest possible way to book a match, which was you have somebody win a match, and then you go, well, now that you won that match, you are deserving of a title match. And they didn't even have the balls to fucking do it on Raw. They had to wait until they did it on the website and stuff, which is just so strange. I don't understand that at all. Because this is a company that has so many employees. And really nobody said, yeah, we didn't announce that fucking tag title match. So that means that they actively chose to wait. Is it a matter of that they were hoping that maybe if they do a news story like that they get some bump on the website? Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's still very much focused on viral content and, their YouTube and the .com. I haven't routinely checked WWE.com since I was a teenager, so I can't relate, but maybe there's a kid out there that can.
I just think it's strange. And I'm really hoping that this tag title situation doesn't turn into a 4-way, 5-way ladder match type thing. But at the same time, I also don't want it to just be the Bar against the Balor Club or something. So,
well, we know it's going to be at least 3 teams.
Yeah, it's at least the Bar, the Balor Club, and the Revival in the mix. Titus Worldwide, they might have been pushed out now. It might have been one of those things where it's like, well, you lost that title match, now you're both in the Battle Royal. But I don't want the Miztourage to be involved. And if they do a triple threat, pre-show. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I can't really even add anything to that. It was a very dull match,
Yeah, not bad. Just doesn't have anything interesting going on around it all that much.
The Black Panther references got annoying between the pre-show and the commentary on the match itself.
Were they just referring to it over the time on the commentary?
Oh, Titus, get that Wakanda power, Wakanda forever.
God, they said that.
Yeah. They said it on the pre-show a lot, and then Renee, being the white Canadian girl, goes, Wakanda forever, and I was like, oh, they're gonna eat you alive on the internet for that one.
Good movie, though. I liked it. I liked it a lot. If you haven't seen Black Panther and you were a fan of Marvel movies, what the fuck are you waiting for? But that takes us into the Asuka versus Nia Jax match with all right, here's where I get into a little bit of rant town. In a way that is, you're probably, if you're out there and you're going, oh, Tony doesn't like anything. Yeah, I do. When it seems right and stuff, but here's my issue with the way that this kind of went down. We talked about this before. I've written up multiple articles about it. I've droned on and on and on about it, but real quick breakdown. There was no way for this match to end without something weird happening. Asuka wins this match by pinfall. She reverses a Hurricanrana into a pin that is very awkward, and it almost seems like Nia basically was just rolling around. I don't remember if they did anything as far as like, well, is her arm up or anything like that. I don't think that they did. But
no, alright, I'm not gonna lie, this match didn't have my full attention, because I'd seen this match quite a few times. I knew Asuka was going over.
I didn't love it. It was fine. But then the bigger story of this whole thing is Nia Jax loses, so she is not in that triple threat match. And they had announced ahead of time that this was all supposed to be for a triple threat match against That is something they said on the pre-show. They kept alluding to the fact that Asuka hasn't even decided what she's doing. Which is so weird that they're doing this counterproductive thing. And at the end of the match, Nia Jax attacks Asuka. Now, this is the type of thing that we see later on. Somebody backstage, somebody in the writing crew said, how about we have somebody lose a match and then they attack the person afterward, because we'll do it twice on this fucking pay-per-view. She tackles her through the security barricade. She gets help to the back or whatever. Alexa Bliss is then talking to Renee Young, and she goes, well, it looks like Alexa Bliss is going to get challenged by Asuka and whatever. So they are adamantly promoting this as being the match. If they go out on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, and she goes, nah, I'm going to fight Charlotte, it's going to be like, well, what the fuck was all this for? If they do that, then it becomes, well, we need to find a different number one contender, so let's have Nia Jax versus Bayley versus Sasha Banks versus whatever, and then they'll probably do Nia versus Asuka versus Bayley versus Sasha.
Yep.
And I do not want to see that match. I don't care. I would rather see Nia Jax beat the shit out of Alexa Bliss in 3 minutes get the pin, win the championship, and just be done with it, than to see some hotly contested fatal 4-way, and is Bayley going to win, or is Sasha Banks going to win, and then maybe Sasha Banks gets the title, and then I don't care.
Alexa's...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nah, go for it.
Alexa's pull for a while was that she wasn't as strong as Nia, she wasn't as invincible as Asuka, she wasn't as, in love with the industry as Sasha, Bayley, and the Four Horsewomen, but they've made her a very capable champion. I mean, she's a little cunning, but they made her a capable champion. So you can't even say, well, let's have Nia run through her, let's have Asuka run through her, because she's proven that she can, handle herself.
Yeah, but I think against Nia, a singles match, it needs to be a blowout. Against Asuka, it could be a little bit more competitive. But I also think Nia and Asuka and Alexa makes more sense than just Asuka versus Alexa. And if Nia doesn't do anything at WrestleMania, then by this point, she never won the NXT title, she never won any of the Raw title or anything like that. What is she, just the monster that always loses? Well, then I don't give a shit about Nia anymore. The switch over with Charlotte is something that I feel would be so underwhelming. If they do switch over, they can't do it until after Fastlane, which means we still have to wait 3 weeks or so, which means the next 3 weeks on Monday Night Raw is going to be all about, well, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte and Asuka are going to fight each other, and what do we do in the meantime? I don't know. We'll just kind of twiddle our thumbs and sit on our asses and stuff. That's not going to be fun to watch. If we do have Asuka versus Alexa Bliss and stuff, then they got to figure out what they're going to do with Charlotte, because I don't think that there's any capable options on SmackDown. And then at that point, they do a clusterfuck, and I don't want a clusterfuck on SmackDown either. So
yeah, that's what they did last year. I see them doing Charlotte and Becky. That's all I see.
I just don't care about that match anymore. I really, at this point, I assume no matter what we're getting, at least one of the women's matches is going to be something that I could not give the slightest shit about. And I thought that there was a chance that we could do something fun. Now, I don't. So, whatever it is, whether it's Alexa Asuka or maybe Nia's in there, I don't know. I'm still leaning more towards it's probably just going to be Asuka, Charlotte, and then the Fatal 4-Way. But I don't know how they're going to get to that point, and I think it's going to be stressful.
I think if they don't go with the one-on-one on SmackDown, then it's going to be the 8-woman cluster with the triple threat on Raw, because they're forcing this triple threat, man.
Yeah, but that's WWE for you to be like, ha, we got you. We actually decided to do this. Whoa, you didn't see that fucking coming, did you? And it's like, yawn. But speaking of yawn, man.
Oh, great segue.
Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. Jesus, I do not care about this fucking feud anymore. And they had no important or interesting or entertaining parts of this. This was not the worst match of the year. It's not going to be, I'm not going to write it down it's the worst match of the year or anything like that. But just, I do not care.
I think you might have missed the entrance, because
the whole thing with the coat in the ring.
Yeah. So they do that, and then Matt's like, Bray, we are going to delete you. And he keeps saying, we are going to delete you. And then he starts going, Bray, you're going to fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. You're going to fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. I'm like, oh shit, Jeff is going to come out from under the ring, or Willow, or something Jeff Hardy related. And then no, here comes Matt out of nowhere. They have a standard match. Matt wins, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck?
I don't know the the sound status as far as Jeff goes, but I don't remember hearing anything about him coming back anytime soon, so I would assume he probably isn't going to be making WrestleMania. And at that point, if you do Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy against Bray Wyatt, you got to kind of give Bray Wyatt somebody. Who do you do?
Well, Braun Strowman's.
Oh, God, please don't. Jeez, that's the last thing they need to do. Maybe you pair them up with the Bludgeon Brothers.
But then you need a third for the Hardys. Oh, okay. I guess Vanguard won.
But then it's like 3 big guys again. I don't know.
Yeah, they really painted themselves into a corner with everything that they're doing on Monday Night Raw right now.
And this is the type of thing, too, that this Hardy Wyatt thing doesn't feel like it's over, but where are they going to go from here?
Over, yeah.
It's not good, and you could tell that this was a bathroom break, and I just don't care to see anything more from it. And I kind of want these two to just be in the Battle Royal. Just don't even bother with them over the next couple weeks.
Maybe Bray can win that Battle Royal. Bray needs a win.
Right now, I'm thinking it's between Rusev, Goldberg, Rollins if he's in there.
Oh, please.
Or, like, some random NXT guy.
Rollins needs a lot better than the Battle Royal. I will say that right now.
Well, that's another thing we'll get into about that, because that's another potential for me to throw the word clusterfuck in there.
Well, we're going into the part of the show that matters now with the Ronda thing and the men's chamber. And when we did our podcast on Wednesday, I kind of left it saying, wow, we put so much thought and effort into what these people could do for all these situations, and they're just going to go paint by numbers. And yeah, that's exactly what this show was. Right down to Ronda Rousey, and I don't know if you got all the messages I sent you, but I was just...
You were just like, all like, no. And like...
I was so livid. The minute I saw Triple H's entrance, I was like, no, we're not doing this.
Told you. And it's so, like, I mean, I figured this was going to be the case. I was really holding out hope that they would do the full 4 horsewomen thing. But the past couple of weeks, I was just like, it's not happening. It's not happening anymore. Yet, at the same time, I was really hoping that they would have done something interesting here. Instead, we get Kurt Angle, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H coming out. They start talking about how she's great, and then they start talking about how they own her and whatever. Exactly the same as the breakdown. Kurt does the whole, no, that they want to control you, blah, 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 blah.
That was very comical. I don't know what it is about Kurt Angle as GM, but he's almost so bad on the mic as a GM that it's funny.
He really is bad, though. That's the thing.
Because he starts laughing or something, and Ronda looks at him like, you got a problem, Kurt? You want to say something? And he just goes, no, I just think this is funny. They just want to own you, and they're mad at you for 3 years ago. And they got, Kurt, shut up. And then Kurt goes in, weren't you saying, hey, we're going to get that bitch? And he's like, and then it breaks down from there, and somehow or another, Triple H ended up going through a table.
Yeah, Triple H gets a spine buster through the table, and Stephanie slaps Ronda and then leaves. I hated a lot of this. Ronda sucks on the mic.
She'll get there.
And, well, see, the thing is, she might not. They're going to pretend like that's not an issue anyway. And we're going to have to hear her every once in a while doing this. And the best we can hope for is that she gets a Brock Lesnar treatment where she doesn't have to say anything. And she does, quick, stupid matches, wins all the time. And I don't want a female Brock Lesnar. We already have Brock Lesnar. And it's annoying as shit to watch his segments sometimes. But if you get her a manager, maybe it would help. I don't know. It's Kurt Angle. Has to be her partner. And
I'll say it again, Braun Strowman is available.
I don't think there's a chance that they do anything with that. They didn't hint at it at all. Kurt had a problem with Triple H, and it's got to be Kurt. And now we get the fun of watching the next month of them teasing that we don't know that that's going to get announced. Where it'll be like Triple H comes out and he bitches and complains about Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle says, well, I'm standing up for everything right. I want Raw to have integrity and whatever. And I know that that's kind of the point too, is like a lot of people would be like, well, that's the storyline, dude. You fucking watch wrestling for the storylines and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but I don't really care and I'm not invested in this one. You give me a good storyline, I'm going to be like, dude, I want to figure out what happens next. You give me something like this, and I'm like, I know we're getting to point F. Just go to point F and just do it. And don't waste my time, because I've got 3 hours of Raw, and half an hour or an hour special afterward, 2 hours of SmackDown, an hour of Mixed Match Challenge and 205 Live mixed in together, an hour of NXT. I'm also supposed to apparently watch your YouTube shit. I don't at this point because I just can't. And then if it's a pay-per-view, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours to do with that kind of stuff. I don't want to waste that time in doing things where I'm just waiting to get to the part where I know that I'm trying to get to. It's kind of like watching a horror movie. And I hate horror movies where you know the main characters aren't going to start getting killed until 3/4 of the way into the movie. So the rest of the time, you're just dealing with like, hey, Becky, do you want to go to the fucking cabin and fuck? And then it's like, no, Becky's going to die. Just kill her already. Start doing the killings. That's all people want to watch the movies for. And there's no substance behind it. And then you're done. And then fucking Freddy comes back and fights somebody else or something. It's just like, I don't care about this Ronda Rousey thing. And they're going to go so over the top and ape shit about it. Talking about how amazing everything was. And I just don't care to spend the next month dealing with it. You know?
You've got the most capable women's roster of all time. Why do we need Stephanie versus Ronda? If you were really trying to make a point about Ronda Rousey and women's athleticism in wrestling, you would put Ronda in the ring with Charlotte or Sasha or Asuka or, you know, one of the other 20 plus capable women that you have. Putting her in the ring with Vince is the kind of thing that makes all the legitimate sports outlets and even the porn stars say WWE is so full of shit. You know, here comes the phoniness with Stephanie McMahon.
Here comes the phoniness.
And of course Triple H goes to the table because, you know, he bumped for Brie Bella at SummerSlam a few years back. I give him all the credit in the world for that. Like, that's why I get annoyed when people go, oh, he buries people. Because Triple H has helped a lot of people in the last recent years. And he, you know, takes whatever bump you want him to. But man, I cannot say enough. I do not care about this match. I do not think we need Triple H and Kurt Angle here. I really thought, because the whole thing was, he's like, you know, all you wanted was WrestleMania. And we're going to give you WrestleMania, but you're not going to have a title match. And I thought she was going to sign the contract, and then Stephanie was going to slam her face on the table and go, you're fighting me, and one-on-one, and that's it. But, you know.
I thought it was going to be, she signs it, and then they say, you're fighting us. I mean, I knew that this was going to be a mixed tag match, but I thought she'd sign it, and then they would do that. I didn't think Kurt Angle was just going to be like, no, don't, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think I'd be a little more interested if it was just one-on-one. If you had, like, Stephanie get Nia in her corner. I don't like mixed tag matches. Because you know that it's going to be all about, you know, Kurt's going to have a 5-minute showcase of his best move with Hunter, and then it's all going to be about Stephanie tapping to an armbar.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to do, like, Triple H and Kurt will hold down the most of it. They'll set up the idea of like, oh, look at that. Ronda Rousey just got tagged in. That means that Stephanie's going to do whatever. And she'll do the whole like, no, like, I don't want to fight.
And then she'll bitch smack her.
Yeah, grab her hair, do that kind of thing. And then Ronda will beat the shit out of her or whatever. And Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey will pose at the end and be all happy. And then we'll see the footage of it 17 more times in the next bunch of days.
Do you want me to lay out the whole match for you? Okay, it's like I can tell you for sure. There's gonna be an armbar. Triple H is gonna try to help his wife. He's gonna get tripped, caught in an ankle lock, and there's going to be a simultaneous tap out.
Yep, that's probably what's gonna happen.
And there we go.
And they'll play Ronda's theme, not Kurt's, probably.
Yeah, so Kurt Angle can pose to the theme song of Freaks and Geeks.
Or if anything, they'll do one and then the other. It'll be like, yeah, like the bell rings and it'll be like, I don't give a damn about my poor reputation, or whatever like that. And then it'll be like, they'll all celebrate, they'll hug in the ring, and then it'll be like, ba-dum, da-da, and just play that for them like to leave. I can see that being the case. And that'll be a good 6-7 minutes of them posing and smiling and stuff after the match, and taking their sweet ass time to go back to the back area.
With special guest ring announcer Maria Menounos. Go ahead.
They might have something like that too, yeah. And then we will hear about how this was one of the greatest spectacles of all time because Ronda Rousey was, and it's just like, I don't care. I don't care, you know? Yeah, it's good that Ronda Rousey's in the company. And I understand the idea that they would put her in a match like this because they want to start a little bit lower and build her up to those other things. Because if you put her against Charlotte, admittedly, even though I would rather see the 4 Horsewomen match, you put her against Charlotte now and she isn't as good in the ring, it's not going to be as good of a match as it will be in the future. But that doesn't mean I'm going to have to care. It's the same scenario as if somebody comes into Ring of Honor or comes into NXT from Ring of Honor and I don't know who they are. I am not going to be like, oh my God, dude, it's Bobby Fish. It's like, I don't fucking know this dude. If he's good, I'll eventually go to like him. And if he's not, then he's overrated in my mind. With Ronda Rousey, yeah, if she's good in the ring, all that power to her, awesome. If she's not, I'm not going to want to see Ronda Rousey be their big fucking pet project. I'm going to get sick and tired of it. And then that's going to make me down on the women's division more. And then people will be bitching and complaining and going, oh, you don't like the women's division. And I'll be like, I don't like Ronda Rousey. Because I'll tell you something I've been bitching and complaining about for an entire year. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Oh my God, we did this at WrestleMania 31 and nobody liked it. Let's do it again a couple years later when nothing has fucking changed.
Well, okay, we can just go right into that now, right?
Yep.
It's time for the men's chamber. Okay.
It's Vader time.
It was fucking Strowman time tonight. He eliminated 5 guys out of 6.
Tell you though, didn't you get the hints of this is just the John Cena thing again? Strowman eliminates every single person. Roman Reigns, he capitalized and he wins. And I just realized I have a typo on my results here. I say Reigns is eliminated by Reigns. I think I just subconsciously was like, Reigns is eliminated.
Well, Miz gets eliminated before Elias even comes out of the pod. And immediately I'm like, well, Miz has no gripe. And then, who gets a... Balor got eliminated? No, Elias gets eliminated next.
It started off with the 3 in the ring were The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. John Cena comes out. Roman Reigns comes out. Braun Strowman comes out. Starts going apeshit. Miz gets taken out. Elias pops out. Then we go with Elias. And then Cena, Balor, Reigns. Rollins, Reigns. Now I keep saying Reigns. Rollins, and then Strowman. First elimination being The Miz. Before we got to the first elimination there was a little fun spot where The Miz had the other 4 people that were in the ring all sitting down and he was calling them out for the it kicks. I like that. That was a good little fun moment.
Oh, yeah.
And go ahead.
Just a lot of the Strowman moments, like the 4-way power bomb. Everybody covers him, he still kicks out, immediately gets AA'd, still kicks out, immediately gets speared, still kicks out. Like, they made Strowman look like the only thing that can beat him is a literal Clark Kent Superman.
Mm-hmm. He looked strong as fuck tonight, which is why it bugged me that they just throw it all away at the end there like that. But we'll talk about that when we break it down a little bit more, but fun little part with Elias and Strowman. Like, Elias played up his heel parts pretty well tonight. I liked The Miz jumping backward with Strowman in the pod, too. That was kind of fun. Cena gets eliminated by Strowman, and then you mentioned this earlier with that they were focusing a lot on Bayley and everybody like their disappointed reactions. They focused a lot on John Cena with that.
Yeah, and when Cena got eliminated, my first thought was, okay, what are they doing with him? Because I had pitched some wild ideas of like, it comes down to Cena and Reigns, and that's where you get Taker if they're really intent on doing that. And I just kept thinking, where are they going with John? He hasn't done anything of note in like the last year. And he goes on Raw Talk after the show, and he's like, you know, I'm not done, but I'm not doing my best. I'm not, you know, performing to the best of my abilities, and I'm failing all the time. And he kind of said, you know, maybe I need to start doing things that aren't proper WWE etiquette. And I didn't like the long-winded phrasing, but he was basically saying, hey, maybe it's time I turn heel. You know, maybe it's time I start doing what I need to do to get to WrestleMania, because right now I don't have a WrestleMania match unless I force my way in. Now, where is he gonna force his way in? That'll be interesting to see.
Here's how I can see things going down. I can't imagine them turning him heel, especially now that he's like doing more acting and stuff. I think that's going to be even harder because he does all like kids things. So if they would make him a heel, I don't think they're going to do that. I think he's going to go to SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I think it's very suspicious that we don't have a Shinsuke Nakamura match announced for Fastlane, or Nakamura doing anything for that matter. He's been just off TV. So I think what we're going to get is Cena is going to go on SmackDown and he's going to challenge Shinsuke Nakamura to a match. Maybe it's like, can you put your title match on the line or something like that? Maybe not. I think we'll get Nakamura versus Cena, and Nakamura will win. And then Cena will come out and be like, I'm desperate. I need to figure something out. I'm going to call out The Undertaker and kind of be a little bit of a dick.
But to me, it doesn't mean anything unless he really is a dick about it. Like, if he's going to call out Shinsuke or go to SmackDown, I'm thinking he goes to SmackDown, walks into that 5-way, makes it a 6-pack, and beats the shit out of everybody with the chair. And says, I'm going to WrestleMania because I'm John Cena and you're not. You know?
I would love to see something crazy like that happen, but I don't put any faith in it.
Like, if he's going to call out Taker, beat the shit out of Taker with the chair, I'm going to retire you because I'm John Cena and it's my destiny. You know, like, if you're going to go there, go all the way.
Well, the thing is, I can't see John Cena fighting almost anybody at WrestleMania this year. I mean, Samoa Joe, they didn't have a chance to build any of that stuff up, and he's not necessarily going to be ready. They can't do Strowman, Cena. There's just nothing for it now. Like, Cena already just got eliminated by Strowman. He's clearly the better person when it comes to that, and that's the end of it. If they don't do The Undertaker, you get, like, Cena Rollins, Cena Balor. Maybe there's something there, maybe not. I don't really think that's a high priority type of thing. And there's really nobody on SmackDown that I can think of. So
Unless he just starts poking the bear with Brian.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if Brian's going to do anything, he would do something in that Shane match.
I just feel like for him to go out and literally say, I'm going to have to start changing my approach to this career. Like, that means, cause he even said, he's like, I'm stronger than I've ever been. I'm better than I've ever been. I'm not delivering. Maybe I need to go outside proper etiquette. And I have to phrase it like that cause that's verbatim what he said, but I don't know.
Possibility. I'm more interested in that than I am in a lot of other things.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, because they left everybody with nothing because they fed everybody to Braun to feed them to Roman, to feed Roman back to
That's the type of booking I hate, because this goes, wow, Strowman looks really, really, really strong here. He beats every single person in here. Oh, there comes Roman Reigns. He hits a couple moves and he wins. And it's like, that doesn't make me go, oh, fuck, Roman Reigns is so cool and I really fucking want to see him beat Brock Lesnar. It makes me go, God damn it. You know, there was a chance here. And then this is pissing me off even more. Then they do the same shit that they did with Nia Jax, where they go, yeah, well, we know that there's a way that this person is being set up in a wrong way necessarily. Let's have them just beat the person down after they lose. So now you're supposed to be okay with the idea that Strowman won 90% of this match and lost and then hit his finisher a couple times on Roman Reigns. I don't give a shit if that does not mean anything for WrestleMania. Because when push comes to shove, that is what matters. You can have somebody win 1,000 matches. If they never win the world title, they are not a world champion. And this reminded me so much of Ryback. Yeah. Ryback was a dude that came in. He was pushed to the moon after that switch from Skip Sheffield over to Ryback. And they gave him main event after main event after main event. He was guaranteed to be the smartest option to win that Royal Rumble and to beat Big Show at WrestleMania that year.
Oh, I talk about that all the time.
And instead, they have Del Rio beat Big Show to set up Jack Swagger versus Del Rio, a match, mind you, that Swagger didn't get an entrance for at WrestleMania, just so they could have Dolph Ziggler cash in the night after WrestleMania. Meanwhile, Ryback gets second place to John Cena. And what does he do at WrestleMania that year? He fights Mark Henry, can't pick him up to do his finisher, loses the match, and then does his finisher afterward. As if to say, we refused you to beat a guy who is past his prime. You are the priority, but we needed you to lose. But we gave you a feel-good moment at the end for you to hit your finisher afterward when it doesn't matter anymore.
And I don't care if the world title was irrelevant at that time.
He should have won it.
The money on that whole thing was Ryback shell shocks Big Show, wins the world title.
Yep. And now they're doing the same thing with Strowman, because Ryback fought CM Punk and he lost. And he fought CM Punk and he lost. And he fought this and he lost. And he fought this and he lost. Got to a point where everybody went, oh, Ryback's not fucking winning. Braun Strowman fights against Roman Reigns and he loses. And against Roman Reigns and he loses. And Brock Lesnar and he loses. And 5 people and he loses. And then Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar and Kane and he loses. And then he gets to this and he loses. Well, you know what? At this point, it's like, well, you just don't want to give the Universal title to him. You acknowledged the idea that going into this match, that Braun Strowman was the guy. And that you still wanted to make sure that people love him afterward by having him hit that finisher on Reigns. Yet you refused to acknowledge that your year-long plan of doing the same thing you did 3 years ago, that didn't work 3 years ago. That's the thing. It didn't fucking work. It's not like it was, say Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, phenomenal fucking match at WrestleMania 25. And then you go, how about we do this again next year? It didn't fucking work at WrestleMania 31. You needed to have Seth Rollins cash in to save you from a chorus of boos the entire fucking match. And you decide you want to spend a year in advance to book it. You get to the point now where you have to make the decision, and you know Braun Strowman is the better decision, and you go, yeah, but we want him to be Super Roman, and he just fucking wins.
But the thing that annoys me about that is the immediate Braun attack says that they know. Mm-hmm. They know that Roman versus Brock is not where the money is.
Yeah, and that they refuse to admit that they are wrong. They would rather lose out on interest at WrestleMania than to say, the guy that we want on top, that we want you to like, might not necessarily be the absolute best decision. Which, if you look at previous WrestleManias and stuff like that, they used to be more functional. Look at Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 3. He beats Andre the Giant, one of the best moments of all time. You give him a big, long run. He drops the title. They do the whole thing with Andre. And WrestleMania 4 comes along. And Hulk Hogan is still the man. But you go with the Ted DiBiase and Randy Savage match. And you give the title to Randy Savage. Because that was something different. It was something interesting. You didn't need to have Hulk Hogan every single year do the exact same thing every single year. Because they could have made that Ted DiBiase versus Hulk Hogan in the finals. And Hulk Hogan wins. And that's how he beats Ted DiBiase. That could have very easily been how they did it. But they didn't. They actually had, in the first round of their meeting, Andre and Hogan get eliminated. They both are out. And then it becomes, what the hell do you do at this point? Hulk Hogan isn't going to be in the finals of WrestleMania and all this other kind of stuff. And you look at the next year after that. Then you go, well, we've got Randy Savage. We build him up and stuff. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if we had like him versus Hulk Hogan, the two big baby faces against each other? And then you play around with stuff, and they focused more on Hulk Hogan than anything else. But eventually, they got to a point where it's not Hulk Hogan versus Sid for the title. They're just a separate match. They're the main event for some fucking reason, but that is the type of thing that they should be doing here. And they refuse to admit it because now they've gotten into this mentality where they go, we are right, you are wrong, deal with it. If you don't want to deal with it, fuck off. And we will beat down into your brain that you love this so much. Even while, like, you know, tomorrow night when they show the, like, still images with the audio behind it, they're going to be showing Roman Reigns hitting these Superman punches and stuff. And it'll be all like, and it's like, you do realize that they were booing.
The thing is, Roman versus Brock, I personally don't mind Roman. Like, I like Roman, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. I like Roman.
Like, personally,
I have to bitch and complain all the time.
I think it's fine. It's just, you're doing these things that are counterproductive, because if you don't go one-on-one Roman versus Brock for the second time, then what the fuck was the point of WrestleMania 33 with Roman beating Taker? It's just, it's almost insulting to me, because it's like, you're gonna take this, and we're going to tell you that Roman is the main event, but Braun is the money. And don't get me wrong, I do not want to see Brock versus Braun for a third time, unless it's going to be in, like, a Hell in a Cell. You know? Like...
That's because they shouldn't have been fighting each other all the previous times.
You know, if they were gonna do anything, I said this, do Demon Balor versus Brock. Rollins, who's on a career roll, versus Brock. John, who's desperate, versus Brock. And then John goes with Heyman because he's desperate. It could have done so many things, but here we go with Roman, who's probably going to play it so straight the entire time. You know, I'm the big dog.
Mm-hmm. I lost my opportunity at WrestleMania 31. This time around, it's going to be different. I promise you I'm going to beat him, whatever. Paul Heyman will come out. He'll be like, we did this before already. We beat you. That you did not do that. You're not going to be able to do it again this time around. We get it. You are very great. You are amazing. You're Roman Reigns. You're the big dog. You're whatever. I don't want to hear the same goddamn fucking promo I heard every single week leading up to WrestleMania 31 or leading up to Roman Reigns in that fucking Fatal 5-Way or whatever it was. It's the same shit. And, I mean, put it this way. Not all of my friends are on the smarkiest side of things. I'll read a quote from, or I'll read you the quote of the text chat that happened throughout this. Let's see. We're making fun of somebody, blah, 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 blah. All right. This is what happens right after Reigns wins. One person says, God damn it. Another person says, LOL, we all knew it was going to happen. Another person says, I know, but fuck. And then another person says, at this point, they are just trying to see how much they can make us hate Roman. All my friends, not a single person said anything positive about it. It was just, oh, fuck. Oh, God damn it. Oh, they're going to do this shit again. They had
it last year when Roman pinned Taker. They had the biggest heel you could have possibly had. This dude beats The Undertaker, and Taker leaves his gear in the ring. Bang, money.
And what does he do the next night? Instead of saying, I respect The Undertaker, and that was one of the hardest matches in my life, now he goes,
it's told you now. Boom.
Yeah. Make him the fucking biggest heel in the company, and you will do what you did with The Rock. You will do what you did with Stone Cold. You make them a heel when people are not cheering them as a babyface. You push them as a heel. They start to get cool. You turn him into a babyface. Suddenly, he's the top fucking guy.
But, and I'll give you tomorrow night's promo verbatim the same way I gave you the Ronda Rousey match. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to pontificate the virtues of the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time, because we're going to be talking about the 2 in 23 and 2. And Roman Reigns, this is your yard, but Brock Lesnar is the beast, and when you're in this ring, you're Brock Lesnar's bitch. They stare down, maybe Roman gets a Superman punch, they have spear.
Yeah.
But I'm more sure that stare down is gonna end with Braun laying both of them out, because I don't think they know what they're doing yet.
Well, here's the thing with Braun is there are still some rumors that he's going to fight The Miz for the Intercontinental title, and to me that seems so massively underwhelming. I love The Miz. The Miz is one of my top 10 favorite people in the company, maybe top 5 at this point. I could consider The Miz a potential top 10 favorite superstar in a lot of different ways. He's in my top 25 of all time, I would think, even. I don't want him to lose the Intercontinental title to Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. I think that is beneath Braun Strowman at this point, in a lot of ways. And that's kind of the same thing as like the Nia Jax thing. If it's Braun versus Miz, he needs to just beat the shit out of Miz, and it's a shit match at WrestleMania, because he either has to dumb himself down to look like he can't just squash The Miz, or he squashes The Miz and we get a 3-minute Intercontinental title match.
Very reminiscent of Big Show versus Cody from 28.
And I think Finn Balor and The Miz, and I think Seth Rollins and The Miz, or Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and The Miz, or Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and The Miz and Elias could all be in that Intercontinental title scene, and they can all make it a legitimate good match. So do you do the clusterfuck of the 4-way? What do you do if you don't do that? I'm personally hoping that they go with The Miz versus Finn Balor. Elias is just in the Battle Royal. Sorry, it sucks. And with Seth Rollins, I don't know. I can only think that he's in the Battle Royal.
I think...
Because if you do Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in the future, like what they were joking about possibly doing, then what do you do or whatever? But then what do you do with Braun Strowman? Because if he's not in the Universal title match and he's not fighting for the Intercontinental title, who's he fighting? There's nobody who he can fight.
Oh.
So it's like, what do you do?
What's Big Show doing right now?
Yeah, like, do you just have fucking Braun Strowman win the Battle Royal? Like, is that their game plan? Is that something as cheap as Braun Strowman is in the Battle Royal again, just so they can have Braun Strowman and Goldberg be the final two?
You seem pretty intent that Goldberg is going to be in this Battle Royal.
I got a feeling he's going to be.
Gun to my head for the Raw side of things, I think Seth Rollins and Finn Balor are really going to fight in this, like, who's the Iron Man of Raw match. I just see that being where they're going. Maybe they do, whoever wins this match
#1 contender spot afterward.
Immediately faces Roman or Brock. And you know Finn Balor will finally get the match he's owed because, hey, guess what? Brock isn't champion anymore.
I don't know. I just don't feel like this is going to be one of those good WrestleManias anymore.
Oh, it definitely feels like WrestleMania 32 where everything... Well, granted, that was for an entirely different reason. A lot of guys were injured. But it feels like that kind of forced, well, what are we doing here? I don't know. Let's just have Undertaker fight Shane McMahon. And I feel that forced hype.
I kind of think that they're going to do what they've done before in the past where, like you said, like the Undertaker Shane McMahon thing, it was like, I don't know, what do we do with like Shane McMahon or whatever, but it can't be just that. Well, we'll just put it in Hell in a Cell. That's good enough. And I think that they're going to do like, I hope that they don't have the mentality where they think that this Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar thing is like going off without a hitch. I hope they're not that delusional. They can't be. I can understand them being stubborn and annoying more than being that dumb. Because that's purely dumb at that point. It's one thing to argue and say, maybe that's the biggest match that you can do, even though Braun Strowman should be in the mix and stuff like that. But you can at least argue that maybe they think that that's the biggest match and that kind of a thing where they're like, well, what else should we do? Fuck you. You can't tell us what to do. But if you are the type of person that you say, I'm going to do this, and if you disagree with me, you're wrong, that's more understandable than saying, nah, people will love it. And then going, yeah, they've been booing for years. And then they go, yeah, but this will turn them around. He'll beat Strowman at the end of the match. Like that kind of thing. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Oh, well, what we'll do is we'll give him the Intercontinental title for about 5 weeks. That way he can say the Universal is the only one he's never owned. And then that way we can talk about even more the idea that we give him everything. And like we were both saying, we both like Roman Reigns. This isn't Roman's fault.
You didn't watch Raw Talk, right?
No.
The first thing Peter Rosenberg said was, I can already hear the internet complaining. I think this is part of the draw and the attraction now. Hey, come to WrestleMania and boo the fuck out of this match and make your voice heard.
I hope that's not the case, because, man, that is so self-destructive.
Because they know that this match will get booed. And I don't want to see something where it's like, well, let's throw Braun in there just so we have a fan favorite. Let's throw Rollins in there just so we can avoid a disaster. No, you book the disaster, follow through with it. You know what I mean?
The only way that they can get around doing that is if they put Braun Strowman in the match and they have him win the title. He can't lose.
But are you really going to do that to Reigns again?
Like, they need to at that point, because at that point they fucked him over enough where he needs to kind of take a back seat. Because they can't do it to Strowman again. That's the thing.
They keep doing this thing where if Reigns isn't, if he doesn't win it, he's going to come very close. Like, they've done it in the last 3 Rumbles. They've done it in the last, 4 Manias, where it's like, Roman is going to be the final 2, and either he's going to get eliminated and you're going to pop because, oh boy, they avoided Roman, or he's going to win like he did with, Taker and tonight with Braun, and you're going to be mad that why is Roman still being pushed? I don't know what they can do at this point anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not feeling this like, well, we'll give Braun the Intercontinental title. That'll be good enough. And we'll do Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, and that'll be the Smark match. The 2 of them can do their flippy bullshit. And then we'll do Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. That's the match that we want to see. That's the match that we want to book. We're going to do it. Just fucking deal with it. Please don't boo. We're going to edit the boos out anyway. And then they set up this whole thing of like, going forward, it's Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at the next like 3 pay-per-views or 2 pay-per-views or whatever. And Braun Strowman has his rematch with The Miz, and then Braun Strowman fights this person, and Braun Strowman fights that person, and
then
it's
you'll
like,
get
well,
to SummerSlam, and it'll be Braun versus Roman at SummerSlam.
I'm just like, I don't want Braun to win that Intercontinental title and to be booked as, well, we like these 2 guys, but we want Roman to be the Universal one, and Strowman can get the 2nd place and shut up. That's your consolation prize.
And the only way I see them booking themselves out of this without changing anything about the Roman and Brock match is if they do what they did with Brock and Goldberg last year, and they have it go on like not last, but not first match of the card. You know, you can say, well, John versus Taker is the main event, and AJ versus Shinsuke is the Smark match. So if Roman wins and Roman gets booed out of the building, at least it's not
right
the last thing you'll hear.
Yeah, we'll give them something that they like afterward. Which is like, you shouldn't be booking a scenario where you know that they're not going to like it. You can book something thinking that they're going to like it and then be surprised that it didn't turn out right. But you can't go, I don't know, you go to a pizza place and somebody's like, yeah, I really like pepperoni and mushrooms. Not a big fan of peppers or onions or any of the vegetable stuff. And then you go, yeah, but we've got the best veggie pizza. And then you go, yeah, but I don't really like veggie pizzas. I kind of tend to go extra cheese and pepperoni. And then you go, trust me, I know what's best for you. I'm going to throw green peppers and onions on there. And you go, well, but I already told you I don't like it. And then you go, well, what the fuck else do you want? Go eat somewhere else. And then, okay, I will. And then you go, you people are impossible to please. And then you go, fine. How about this? You eat the damn veggie pizza. Afterward, I'll give you a couple pieces of pepperoni. You fucking happy? Then you go, no? Well, you're a bunch of fucking smarks. Like that kind of thing. What are you, some pizza insiders? Like that kind of thing. It's just dumb. And if they have that mentality, then you're going to get people like me who run a website and write articles all the time talking about how The Miz versus Braun Strowman is not good enough for either of the 2 guys. Because also, Miz versus Braun Strowman, if the Intercontinental title goes on Braun Strowman, the Intercontinental title is not going anywhere and being competitive for months. Because Finn Balor's not beating Braun Strowman in anything. Seth Rollins isn't beating Braun Strowman. The only person who could do that, it would be Samoa Joe, and it's not going to happen until SummerSlam or so. So then it's just Braun Strowman wins squash matches for the Intercontinental title on every pay-per-view for the next couple of months. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns wins every fucking match for the next couple of months in matches that people don't necessarily care about, that always take priority over SmackDown and different things like that. And then we're looking at 2018 being one of those frustrating ass years. And God forbid it ends with Roman Reigns wins this Universal Championship at WrestleMania and they go, I know what we're going to do. We're going to have him keep that title for all of the whole year, and he'll drop it at next year's WrestleMania, WrestleMania 35. It is Roman Reigns versus John Cena or something like that. Like,
because that was going to be my answer. To who? Who beats Roman? Like, the biggest problem we have right now is nobody seems like a big deal. When you have to keep dusting off poor Undertaker for these fucking mega matches so it can feel like a big deal. And don't get me wrong, I love the Undertaker. Fuck you if you don't, but
yeah, that's basically my point of view. He's my number 2 of all time, so
like Roman shouldn't have to be forced to not. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. They shouldn't book themselves into these corners. They just shouldn't. And they've had enough time with Roman to know that this is not what people wanted. You should have given them Demon Balor or something. You had time. You didn't pull the trigger. It's shame on this company at this point.
And you could have done it too. You could have done Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar didn't need to hold that title for an entire year.
He didn't.
Now, I think that he didn't need to win the title. He didn't need to have Goldberg and him for the title. But even if you argue that, he didn't need to hold it for an entire year. Just to lose it to the same person all over again and all that. It's just not worth it. And I feel like I need to go back to WrestleMania 31 on my list of like the things that I wrote and just copy and paste and not do as much work anymore. Because WWE's not doing enough work. They're fucking copying and pasting. And it's just disappointing. So it's like a pay-per-view like this. I liked the match. I hated the ending because it just affirmed everything that I've been bitching about for an entire year. So now, Elimination Chamber, I look back on this and I go, well, there was a couple good parts of the night and a couple other things that I don't know if I like it or not because they are going to clarify some of it on Raw. Some of it they're going to wait an entire month to clarify. And there's a good chance March 12th, the Monday Night Raw after Fastlane, I'm sitting in there going, well, fuck, I don't really give a shit about this WrestleMania. Now, in the meantime, I've got a month to wait or whatever to figure out if I'm going to hate the build to WrestleMania or if I'm going to moderately be okay with it and not really love it. But I know that I'm not going to love it. So you're already you're looking at like a C at the best and hoping that you don't fail. How am I supposed to get all that super interested and excited? And, you know, now Elimination Chamber looks back and I'm like, all right, well, all this did was set up problems. And now you got Ronda Rousey doing her thing. That wasn't anything special. You're proving to me that you do not care about what the fans do like better with the Roman Reigns kind of thing. You're probably setting up matches that I don't care about. And for the people that go, well, you can't really complain. You got to wait until it happens or whatever like that. When it happens, I don't want to hear you go, well, you didn't see this one fucking coming or something like that. You know what I mean?
You know, okay, I'll say this. Roman and Brock, they can salvage it if they do something where these two guys are just beating the fuck out of each other every time they touch. You have to make it look like an absolute bloody brawl is going to go down to make it seem remotely interesting. Outside of that, I'm interested in what they're going to do with John. I'm interested to see where Balor and Rollins land. And I can't say I'm all that interested for what they have for anyone else.
I'll actually go the opposite way. I think the only way that you're going to get me interested in Reigns versus Lesnar is if you do not cut a single promo or do a single thing until the match. Nothing. Nothing at all. Roman Reigns doesn't even come out tomorrow night. Paul Heyman doesn't address anything. All they do is they show a graphic every once in a while. They go, remember, Roman Reigns is going to fight Brock Lesnar. And they do nothing, not a single thing. Then I'll go, wonder why they did that. And then I'll be interested. You keep doing the whole, this match is going to be epic. This is going to be amazing. I swear to God, you're going to love it or whatever. I'm not going to buy it.
Well, they have a second chance to right the wrong of the first Roman Brock stare down, where it ended with.
Oh God!
Yeah,
I put that out of my fucking memory. They had the whole struggling over the belt.
And to me, it was a cool visual for a second, and the next day I saw all the memes, and I was just like, oh shit.
Oh my God! I totally forgot about the tug of war. Shit, that was so bad.
I believe that was the go home, so.
It was, that's the thing. Damn. See, WWE, do you have these archive people telling you the shit that you did? You know? So, another bad part about this, too, is for people that need a little bit of insight, after doing this post-show review, I have to write up 2 more articles about what I thought about Elimination Chamber. One for Sportskeeda and one for eWrestling News. So I need to reword the same opinions of how I'm disappointed. And that makes me go, what did I spend the night doing?
Writing about your disappointment.
writing about how I don't like something.
And the thing is, we like
it's
it.
what? It's 1 a.m. right now. So I also insight. I was up doing the 24-hour gaming marathon for days, and I'm somebody who doesn't sleep all that much. So I fall asleep at 3 in the afternoon and woke up at 5 in the afternoon. So I got 2 hours of sleep. I've been working basically for like 2 days or so, and I'm going to spend the next arguably 3-4 hours like editing this and writing up those articles and stuff. It's going to be 6 a.m. maybe by the time that I get a chance to wind down from just feeling like, angry, and I got to wake up and do all this tomorrow with Monday Night Raw.
And we got Fastlane in 2 weeks.
Fastlane in 2 weeks. We've got, I got to do all the Raw stuff and then all the SmackDown stuff and whatever. And it's the first time in this next week where I'm going to do anything somewhat wrestling related that's going to be a little bit of like fun is going to be the mailbag. And we might not do that until we're at least going to do it Wednesday or Thursday. Possibly not even until Friday, depending on scenarios and stuff. But I'm going to have to wait until nearly a week away where I start answering questions of like, so what do you put on your hot dog, for me to be like, all right, now I can fucking take a breath. You know what I mean?
And you know,
it's just disappointing.
They put people like us in situations where we love the medium, we love the product, but I'm not going to watch an episode of How I Met Your Mother that I hate and go, man, I love it. You know, right. I'm going to say that I fucking hated it. And
I stop watching other TV shows that I don't like after a while.
The problem with wrestling is you can't do that because it's not like you can go, it'll either get canceled or, you know, I'll be able to binge watch it. No, you have to stay current because it's always changing. The problem is we go roundabout, and now we're looking at a WrestleMania that we might not even enjoy.
The problem is best summed up by this. If you are a fan of sports and your sports team doesn't win, you get angry, and then you go, there's always next season. With WWE, there's always the next show that they can change it, but that means that they actively chose to do the thing that you didn't want them to do. Instead of just, you know, if you're an Eagles fan and the Eagles lose, then, hey, you know what? They actually could win the next one. But this is WWE saying, this is what we want to do. This is what we're more than likely going to continue to do. So then you go, well, what do? Do I wait 6 months until maybe they've turned around before I watch it again? Because you can't just go, well, I missed this episode of SmackDown, I think the next one will be good. It probably isn't going to be if you didn't like it, you know?
And then you run the risk of missing, you know,
a potential really good match or a really good feud.
It's a real catch-22.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, I've been loving the stuff that Strowman's been doing. It just happens to end with, and it doesn't all matter.
Exactly, and that's the problem. Nothing matters. For me, as a lifetime fan who watches every show, nothing matters. Dean Ambrose can come at Brock Lesnar with a chainsaw, and this motherfucker won't win. But old man Goldberg will beat him in a minute 25.
Yeah. If that's the story they want to tell, they will do it, and your choices are accept it and be happy with it, don't accept it and bitch, or don't watch. And you're like, all right, fine.
I'm not accepting it, and I'm gonna bitch.
Yep. And then you try to make money off of it. And then you come the way that I am. But yeah, the Elimination Chamber, I think, is a mixed bag. It's not a horrible event, and it's not a good event.
Yeah, go out of your way to see that Women's Chamber. Fantastic match. Really good. I'm sad that
probably the highlight.
We're not getting more of Sasha and Bayley. That match was easily the best. Everything else is mostly skippable until the Ronda segment, and even that's kind of skippable because we all knew what was going to happen anyway.
A lot of it's just you don't need to have watched it. All you got to do is read the results.
Yeah, and you can do that on smark.com.
So that's, I guess, our breakdown of Elimination Chamber 2017. I'm still stuck in 2017. 2018. Like everything else, drop your comments below. Tell us what you thought about any of this, our opinions, or just your own opinions, or whatever the case may be like that. Anything you want to toss out there, Robert, before we wrap things up?
No. I think I'm good.
Check him out on Twitter at DudeValise, at the very least.
Yeah. Thank you, Tony.
I've been doing this a long time. I remember these things.
All right. Well, yeah, check me out on Twitter. Comment. Tell me that you completely disagree with me. Tell me I suck. Doesn't matter. Have fun with it.
Start a "You Suck" chant. Kurt Angle likes it. Why not us?
Absolutely.
And if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. Ring the bell for notifications as well to be aware of the next videos that we post up, which, as I mentioned before, the hot tags are coming up next, and then it will be the mailbag. So send in your mailbag questions and try to keep them in mind of, like, if you ask, like, what do you think is going to happen at Fastlane? I'll tell you what the Fastlane predictions. Don't waste your time. I'm going to exit the question anyway. Keep them more generalized or more non-pay-per-view specific type stuff. And even better, do things that aren't wrestling. Because like I said before, sometimes that's like a good breath of fresh air.
Hashtag snack talk.
Yep. Hashtag future segments. I don't know. I got some ideas that I'm cooking up. And if you are listening on this on iTunes or Stitcher, leave a positive review on one of those things. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. And you can follow Fanboys Anonymous all over the place, fanboysanonymous.com. We are still monetized the last time I had checked, so that is going pretty well as far as that is concerned. I should probably check it again in a few minutes or so just to see if that's not something a little bit fucked up there, and I'm not going like, oh, by the way, I'm not totally wrong about that. Fanboys Anonymous is on YouTube. You can, we are still monetized. You can follow on Twitter, it's at Fanboys Anon, and Fanboys Anonymous on Facebook for all like the movie review type stuff like that. Hopefully getting more content up on there as soon as possible as well. And I will see you when I see everybody. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.